Good evening, friends. Let me see the sign again. That's all about love. Thank you. On behalf of our members, we would like to thank Amnesty International and friends here present for the recognition given to Women of Zimbabwe Arise, or as we like to call it, WOZA. WOZA was formed to give voice to ordinary women and to demand social justice for all Zimbabweans. We did not set out to seek recognition beyond that of our own government, to respect us as citizens, and to recognize our concerns as legitimate. We long for the award of true freedom and independence in Zimbabwe. We, as mothers of the nation, also long for the award of dignity and a bright future for our children. I formed WOZA with the late Sheba Dube, and it's fitting that we remember her today. It is also fitting that we remember some of our members whose lives were cut short because of police harassment, because of torture, because of having their rights violated, although the police will also benefit when we get the social justice. Those members, Maria Moyo, Stella Monda, Fungai Chabata, and most recently, Tembelani. WOZA was formed to turn a victim mindset into the one of a survivor. We are determined to finally receive the promises of the Liberation War for respect for one person, one vote, equality, and the right to an education. Blood was spilt in a violent war for these ideals. This time round, WOZA leads a non-violent struggle, and we are committed to giving non-violence a chance to complete that struggle for freedom. To help us, we have drawn inspiration from the work of Martin Luther King Jr. He challenged us by saying, "Make injustices visible." And he also challenged us further by saying you can take fear and turn it into hope. We modeled our training programs on his advice, and we have a 75,000-strong membership to show for it. But WOZA has never solely been about women in Zimbabwe. It has long been about the voices of ordinary people demanding social, economic, political, and cultural rights. So we would also like to take this opportunity to thank members of Amnesty International for their solidarity whenever we are arrested. These committed friends take their time to send postcards and to telephone police stations and prisons, prosecutors, and magistrates. I remember once being in jail in Bulawayo, and a young police officer came to me. He said, "Are you Jennifer Williams?" I said, "Yes, I'm Jennifer Williams." He said to me, "The phones there are ringing. Please, I'm being asked from America. Are you all right?" I said, "Well, I'm in prison." This intervention is vital to saving our lives, and it helps to send a message to the perpetrator that the world is watching. We ask you once again to commit tonight, tomorrow, and the next day to increasing your solidarity with Zimbabweans as we now expect the levels of violence to further increase. We think Zimbabwe is in a state of undeclared civil war. It is not bullets that Robert Mugabe and his structures of violence are using to kill Zimbabweans, but an enforced famine and an extinguishing of the faith in democratic systems of accountability. These are sophisticated forms of torture, both physical and mental. Recent events in South Africa have shown that the Southern African development community does not care. It does not care about the wishes or best interests of the Zimbabwean people. They will not be able to bring about meaningful change in Zimbabwe. We therefore call on the African Union, together with the United Nations, to intervene in the Zimbabwean crisis. We ask that they prioritize dealing with the humanitarian crisis and force Robert Mugabe to stop political violence and harassment of democracy activists, whilst more genuinely engaging the politicians on an equal and mutual respect basis. Recently, we have spent 9 weeks in prison, denied bail because of our capacity to mobilize peaceful protest. The magistrate, Charity Maposa, likened Magojonga and myself to incorrigible, it's a hell of a word, isn't it? Unrepentant criminals. We are incorrigible because we speak the truth, and we will not be silenced by baton sticks, arrests, beatings, or torture. Unrepentant. Unrepentant because as long as our hearts beat, they beat a demand for dignity and the full enjoyment of all our rights. Criminals? Do these faces look like criminals? Criminals because the regime regards our peaceful protest as violence and regards human rights work as the work of criminals. So they put us, the peace activists, mothers of the nation, in jail to leave them free to conduct their violent campaigns. And so we stand before you tonight, incorrigible, unrepentant about demanding respect for our human rights. We thank you, and we hope your solidarity will be with us tonight and in the future.